It's crazy how Pisco is actually the only one with his head just like totally screwed on in this podcast. He's looking at chat. He's been in chat. He's looking red. He's staring at his screen. Okay, I really dislike 3 out of 4 people on this podcast. Okay, it's every fucking time with this bald idiot, man. He's saying Hassan's voice is more important than Zoran's. Dude, Hutch got the Andrew Wilson filter on. It looks weak to everyone else. So, guys, I'm hearing terrifying reports from on the ground in the Lib and Learn universe. Hearing terrifying reports that Pisco has had a fallout with his boy. Pisco's had a little fallout with his boy again. His boy Hutch. They've had a little fallout. Now, I don't know 100% what it's about, because I haven't seen it yet. However, I have had people tell me that it's because Hutch has flipped on Zoran. So, if you guys don't know, obviously there's been a lot of warring between sort of Destiny-aligned libs and sane people like Pisco about whether there's like this pressing need to eject everyone who even slightly sounds slightly remotely socialist ever from the Democratic Party, or whether it's actually fine to have a Big Tent left-leaning coalition, you know, like most left-leaning parties are in the Western world. So Hutch is obviously of the delusional mindset that you actually need to spend all day, every day crying about Hassan or Zoran Mamdani. But he used to say, well, no, Zoran's the candidate, we should back him, we should back Zoran. But now he's, I guess, taken that back. Now he's changed his mind. He's changed his mind, so he's not going to. And I want to see what he was saying. So I'm seeing they're talking about Adams in the chat there. So I think it's probably around here somewhere.
22 out of 24 million people on the ACA are taking advantage of these subsidies. Some people get it for free. Some people get a small discount, but a bunch of people get it. People are going to see their insurance premiums go up upwards of 75% for some people. So for me, the timing is actually brilliant because...
Okay, so Hutch, if you guys have seen this, can you guys make sure that I'm not missing any key points?
As these letters go...
Like, am I starting this too late? Do I need to start earlier in the podcast, or...
out as people get emails from their health insurance companies, they're going to hear the Democrats are fighting to bring down their health insurance costs. So I think it's really smart.
I don't think that the policy position is bad. I know that Nate Silver penned an op-ed about it should be tariffs. I'm kind of as between tariffs and healthcare. I think both are fine topics. So I don't have a problem with the Democrats taking a stand on something tangible like this. Like we said before, and I think it's correct, the tangibles of like going against government corruption or going against the excesses of the executive generally, or like stopping the deployments of the National Guard. That's stuff it's too intangible for the American to feel. And it's hard to see Trump caving on that stuff, but money, dollar and cents, that seems like it's more of a point where Democrats can score some wins. I don't have a problem with that strat and the timing of it. My problem is, again, the messaging. It's just who the leaders are of this movement. And to me, like, I'm someone who's looking for the Democrats always, and like what Hakeem is saying and what Schumer is saying. And I'm sorry, like Newsom has been more vocal than these congressional Democrats. Where are they? Where are the
Newsom been
This
cooking
ties back to your hybrid theory. You believe in like a new kind of hybrid politician that not only is effective at, you know, like whipping his like caucus or their caucus into line, but they're also like super savvy on social media. I just don't have that same.
You're talking, Pisco, about a governor. You're talking about people that are not accountable to anybody. They're the executive, you know. But Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries, they have a whole caucus, right? We've talked about this before. They have moderates, they have liberals, you know, and their leadership happens behind the scenes, and they're not the most public-facing people. So I think as the shutdown happens, these next 24 hours, they're going to get a lot.
Hutch and I are right, advocating for Dems to be more milquetoast and PR-brained. Yeah, that's going so great over in the UK. It's going so great for libs over here, I got to say. Proven to be an amazing strategy. Just never say anything on social media. Sit there and be totally like placating, be demure and quiet the whole time. That's what libs should do. They should sit there and keep their mouth shut. Go, yeah, I'm just interested in the policy. I'm just interested in the policy. Like fucking robots, day in, day out. That's what they should do. Great ideas, guys. Great stuff happening here. Very intelligent stuff. That's how you win elections in the current media environment, when we've got fucking TikTok and Twitter and all this shit aimed against every fucking liberal group in the entire Western world. Yeah, that's a great plan, man. Seriously, great plan. Awesome stuff, dude. Let's just roll over and fucking die, actually. Just lay down and fucking die, actually.
Attention. And by the way, this is the first time Hakeem Jeffries has met with Donald Trump. And, you know, there could be some dynamics there that we haven't seen play out yet.
Is it going to be televised, their meeting?
No, they already had a meeting. They came out front of the White House today and talked. And by the way, Donald Trump canceled their meeting last week. Last Thursday, they were supposed to have a meeting, Chuck Schumer, Jeffries, and Trump. He canceled it, said, what's the effing point? There's no reason to talk to them. Over the weekend, he capitulates, and they had a meeting today. So he's already taking an L.
Well, can we put some points on the board for like caution though? Like, can you guys explain, like, how could Trump possibly manipulate a government shutdown to do really bad shit? Because I keep hearing about this.
Well, this was like the initial government shutdown. The reason Schumer didn't want to do it, he said that they would use this to seize more power. And I wasn't really, sure I understood what he was claiming, but like that they would erode certain industries, they'd fire. So, I mean, they've threatened to fire employees this time, right? The people that are furlough a bunch of government workers. I don't super understand how this is different that time. No one's really communicated that to me. Can someone?
Anyone? No, it's not different at all. Only this time, I suppose, the Supreme Court is giving him more and more wins in some of these outrageous, like, shadow docket opinions where they're not even giving the reasoning and they're kind of just letting Trump win on the status quo or on some standing or procedural bullshit or something. So like I understand that that aspect of it might change if the courts are giving less and less wins, or really just one court, the Supreme Court. All the other intermediate appellate courts and the trial courts, they're doing a great job. The Supreme Court's really just fucking up in terms of upholding the rule of law. Maybe that's different, but in terms of the dynamics in like the worst of all possible worlds, military coup scenarios, all that shit, it's the same exact stuff. It's the same exact shit. What I'm concerned about though are some of the reports that Schumer has lost the confidence of his caucus. I'm seeing that reported. I'm seeing reports that they might do a temporary stopgap bill, and Schumer might.
Do you think?
See, it's funnier when it's a callback. It's the second time around.
Pool of the National Mall, he can stop SCOTUS from sending Kilmer Abrego Rodriguez.
See, now the previous dono is almost like a setup for this dono, which sort of it almost becomes a bit more involved. There's a little bit more to the joke. So a daily sub, I've never had a daily sub goal. What do we say?
I'm seeing reported it.
Schumer said no.
There was reporting that
7-10 day bill. No.
Well, that contradicts reporting that I saw a headline for today, which was it Axios, which said
1 hour is when things start simmering. Okay, I'm gonna put this on 1.5 till we get to 1 hour in.
Asking Democrats if they Trump
50 minutes.
Yeah, I don't know if you know more about that than I do, but
well, I think he had a press conference with Hakeem Jeffries like 2 hours ago. I think he said no to a question about it there, but I think Schumer has to fight. He's got to demand, and he can't back down. So I just don't see a world in which he does.
What do you guys think about? Go ahead. Well, I was going to say, what do you guys think about Destiny's floated the demand of having Donald Trump condemn like all political violence and not just left-wing political violence? I don't know. I kind of think that's interesting. Like he might be
thought that would actually do something, but I just saw he was on a segment on the news today, and I didn't want to bring this up, but you made it organically, and essentially he kind of talked about like what my strategy is, and he's like, look, if every single time this happens, something happens, and the left wing has to cuck out to the right wing, they have to say, oh, like we disavow political violence, oh, like we don't support this guy who did something against the right, and this is then taken by the right wing as, look, they're guilty because they're admitting fault, and I just don't see how that somehow reconciles with the idea that, well, if I won't disavow political violence, if I go on TV and say the worst possible thing that can get clipped and amplified, this is not going to be taken by the people that are going to take and say that this is guilt. How that at all is going to drive more people to the cause of, oh, actually, yeah, the president should be the one disavowing violence. I think it's completely ridiculous. But obviously, yeah, if we could somehow like use the shutdown, which is going to affect everyone, and say, hey, we'll give you the money if you fucking disavow terrorism, which you have not done, you've not turned out the temperature. I think it's a good idea.
The guy in Michigan who shot up that Mormon church and burned it to the fucking ground. He was a Mormon who was posting like Charlie Kirk stuff on his social media. So it seems like
he had a Trump sign, but it said there was a stop sign under the Trump sign, so that might be interpreted as Trump stop, which if you reverse in your head is stop Trump, which means he's anti-MAGA, maybe.
Trump stop.
Schumer has to get something tangible, and it's got to be some extension of the ACA subsidies or some reversal of the big beautiful bill Medicaid cuts. It's got to be, has to, and they're going to. There's no bullshit like some commitment from Trump to make a statement. No way.
I don't know what the representation is if that's Steven's ask or whatever. I respect where Steven is coming from with respect to like the both sides not having to do it in order to get to the karma heaven or whatever. So I totally understand that angle of it. I just don't think it's appropriate for this negotiation, and it's something that Trump would go back on. And I just can't imagine him being like, yes, I'll condemn in exchange for money, and here's my condemnation.
I don't think the point would be to necessarily like, because everybody knows he would never do that, but you could necessarily you could possibly like generate some headlines there.
Just highlight how much he's not doing it, because right now everyone's like, well, it's how can we hyper focus on crazy other things that have nothing to do with the president?
This is like the most Twitter conversation ever. Literally, it's just you're on Twitter every day seeing fucking Nux Taku say, leftists want you dead, leftists want you dead, and you think that needs to be the whole conversation right now.
This is hey, your life sucks right now because the president won't turn the temperature down. Not, hey, we actually think the president's going to change his mind because of that.
But it doesn't.
It's crazy how Pisco is actually the only one with his head just like totally screwed on in this podcast.
As much compared to your health insurance premium going up $50-$60 next year. You know what I mean? Like that is going to impact everybody who has health insurance, which is way more people than people impacted by political violence, in my opinion. Maybe you guys feel differently. But.
No, I totally agree. Like maybe to the extent that it's important, I you know, anecdotally, it seems like political violence is going up, and it seems like there have been like multiple days of like shootings and shit. And so if I was just like testing the air, like my intuition is that it's going up. But even then, it's like this is not affecting most people. This is a fraction of something. You know.
Here's the messaging, and the Democrats have started to say it. Hakeem is saying it. Schumer's saying it. This is Trump's shutdown.
No,
Trump
Pisco doesn't need to dump these losers. No. Pisco doesn't need to dump them. Dumping them is not the right move. He needs to keep fighting. He needs to keep fighting with them. He needs to keep digging his heels in every episode and pointing out how they're retarded, because they are great case studies for just DGG mental rape. Years of DGG mental rape. Years of half AFK, half mentally AFK. Probably for Hutch playing Borderlands. I just saw him type in chat that Borderlands 4 is amazing. Hutch playing Borderlands, half mentally in the game, half mentally listening to Destiny, letting his entire psychic landscape become affected. And now it's all just about streamer drama and streamer rhetoric and Twitter rhetoric, and that's how he sees all politics.
Trump is the president. They control the House. They control the Senate. Your average American does not understand that you need 7 votes from the Democrats in the Senate because you need 60 votes to get a bill across the finish line, and there's only 53 Republicans. All people know is Trump's the president, and there's a shutdown. And there was no shutdown when Biden was president. That's what I think the message is going to be as we move forward. That's what the media is going to say too.
I'm mad at I don't know if this we might be veering into a different category here, topic here, but I'm more upset about Jeffrey's statement regarding Adams. Eric Adams. And here, I'm willing to join you, actually. After many weeks of debating this, now that Adams has actually dropped out of the race, now I think it is actually kind of valid to ask for an endorsement from Jeffries.
No doubt. Like, no one's asking Jeffries. Like, if it were the case that Jeffries, like, I don't get into fucking mayoral politics or whatever, he took some kind of principle, I think it would be bullshit, but whatever. But when Mayor Adams, an indicted mayor who was taking bribes from the Turks and who did a corrupt deal with Donald Trump in exchange for greater ICE enforcement. Understand what, like, everyone, we're fighting ICE, right? In the metaphoric sense, in the political sense, and, you know, condemn all violence. But, like, we're fighting ICE. ICE is, like, the enemy of the American people, in my opinion. And that is not okay. Like, we're allowing and we're saying that it's, you know, he has a good, like, you don't even mention the fact that he cooked up this deal, the fact that he's a corrupt mayor in your statement. You're like, oh, yeah, you did a pretty good job. That is disgraceful. That is disqualifying in the era of Trump to not call out. And he was weak on him before, too, because he didn't call on him to
Yeah, is Hutch saying it was Jeffries to endorse Mamdani? I thought someone said that he had flipped on Mamdani. Someone came to chat saying maybe they were wrong. Let's see.
When it was clear he was corrupt, when it was clear he was cooking up a deal with Tom Homan, who was also taking bribes, $50,000 in bills before the 2024 election in exchange for the promise of contracts after the election related to the border wall, and bills in a fucking kava bag or whatever, in a food bag. So spare me on this shit. That is weakness of the highest order, and it shows me that Jeffries isn't made for this moment. In addition to all of his cringeness, the dude is just cringe. Listen to him talk for like 10 minutes. To me, it's cringe all the way down, and Schumer is past his time. It's time for new leadership at the Senate level, at the House level. That's my...
Yeah, okay. He was in chat. I see that. I'm kind of interested. I think Hutch getting bullied on the internet defines most of his positions. Someone saying that he flips around to this debate. Someone in chat here is giving them shit. I think I've even seen this person around. It's just so poetic. Hutch only changes his mind until it's already too late. Representative of Hutch's politics. I get the feeling he gets bullied by chat a little bit and his position starts flipping around. He's looking at chat. He's been in chat. He's looking red. He's staring at his screen.
Moment. In addition to all of his cringeness, the dude is just cringe. Listen to him talk for like 10 minutes. To me, it's cringe all the way down, and Schumer is past his time. It's time for new leadership at the Senate level, at the House level. That's my take on it. It's been my take for a while, and this recent Mayor Adams statement only further cements it.
I'm going to be the last man standing defending Jeffries, not endorsing Mamdani. I don't give a shit because he's got to control a caucus full of moderates. Control of the House goes through people like Marie, Glusum Camp, whatever, Perez. Like he's got to walk a fine line here. I saw the statement too, and I was a little taken aback by it. But, you know, I don't think it matters. Again, I don't think it matters.
I want to push back because I feel like there's a political calculation here. Because I think that if Cuomo were to beat Mamdani, number one, I feel like that would greatly exacerbate the divisions that we're currently seeing within the party. And number two, it would make the entire party, I think, look really bad.
There's no good outcome here, Ira, in my opinion, because let's say that Jeffries comes out and endorses Mamdani. Well, you were late. Why'd you take this long? Right? What if he comes out and endorses Cuomo?
I think it's good if he waits.
We'll just let me get it all out. What if he endorses Cuomo and Cuomo loses? Now he looks like a fucking jerk and everyone memes on him and no one takes him seriously. What if he endorses Cuomo and Cuomo wins?
Well, he's not going to endorse Cuomo. He's not going to do that.
I mean, you say that, but what if he doesn't take? What if he doesn't weigh in at all and he doesn't endorse anybody? Now he looks fucking weak. There's no good option here, in my opinion. And I think he's fucked himself over by not endorsing the.
If he endorsed Mamdani now, I don't think that would be like. I don't think people would look poorly on that.
No, I think it's the least bad option. But like, it seems so politically calculated, and so when it was obvious from the start that this is the guy you should have backed after the primary, and that's my opinion on it.
You know, Mamdani wants the endorsement, right? So like, and Jeffries technically has that leverage, but you could argue that Mamdani has the leverage now too, because they're like Hochul endorsed him already, and so it feels like he's got a little bit of wind at his back. But like, yeah, I don't know. I don't, yeah, go ahead.
Hochul's New York State, you know what I mean? Like, this is New York State politics, so she's got to work with the mayor. Again, I look at Hakeem Jeffries as he's national. He's got to, you know, keep his caucus together. He can't represent one side more than the other, and control of the House goes through those moderate districts like MGP and Jared Golden. So I think best case scenario, he doesn't endorse him at all. He doesn't need his endorsement to win, and he stays neutral, and then he's not associated with him. I mean, let me challenge you, Pisco. What does Hakeem Jeffries get out of endorsing Mamdani?
I think that he's endorsing
to do his
broad
job.
I think that he is possibly, you know, ingratiating the members of the left who really are enamored by Mamdani. He's pushing party unity at a time when we need you know, emphatic leaders who are charismatic. So I think that it gives him, I think, at least something.
Okay, I really dislike 3 out of 4 people on this podcast. Okay, and Adam Friended is not smarter than a single one of them. So that is just a totally bizarre chat message.
Fights with the left, to some extent at least. So yeah, I think that it can make his job easier. And what could it hurt? Like, all he's doing is endorsing the Democratic nominee as the leader of the Democrats in the House of Representatives. I would expect him to endorse Tom Suozzi. I would expect him to endorse Jared Golden. And so what's the problem with the Democratic leader endorsing the Democratic candidate?
We've already seen the power scaling. We've literally seen the power scaling. Adam scales lower than fucking tomfoolery. Adam is literally like gutter tier. Like, the guy is gutter tier.
No brainer. What's the harm?
Well, usually, as far as I know, they're only endorsing his incumbents in the House. Anything else he's not really involved in. So he's only going to fight for incumbents in the House, and that's it. Like, nothing else. He's not involved in anything else.
And this is a principled position, you think? That
this is the standard.
It's not principled.
This is the standard.
It's about getting what's going to make his job easier. He's a national figure for the Democrats. Does he want to be associated with Mamdani on the national stage? I'm just saying, does that help him do his job? I'm not sure it does.
Well, then what is this flirtation of, I'm going to talk with Mamdani? Yeah, go for it.
Pisco, I guess the ultimate question is, because I'm still on the fence about this. Obviously, I think he should endorse, but like, whether or not, I don't know.
No, I'm not confusing vocabulary for intelligence. I'm saying Adam's points are bad. He does not understand the topics he's talking about. He gets raped in every debate. He has to beg Sitch for help because he is a retard who cannot articulate anything he believes. His arguments about voting for Trump were the dumbest shit I've ever heard. He is a retard. He is a legitimate fucking retard.
The future, does endorsing Mamdani kind of dissuade, does it dissipate this illusion, or not illusion, but like a very big perception that Democrats are feckless and not listening to their base? Because obviously there is a much larger base than what you would see on the internet, but there is a huge amount of people, the same people that are enthusiastically going out and canvassing for Mamdani, who are doing all this volunteering. The reason he was able to get off without all this big, you know, corporate energy, and saying, hey, can we help get those people into the coalition? Or are those people going to be seeing the Democrats as, you know, they're always against us, they're not even on our team? I would say probably...
Yeah, Sitch literally benefiting from the fat friend effect every episode of that podcast. Looking so much better by comparison.
good, but is that better than what IRI is suggesting, that maybe in doing so, you
Stay on the
alienate a lot of
fence?
the people that you might not see who are like, hey, I'm not really sure about the, you know, this
Then you
guy
just
who's
make
a little too far left from me.
Do you think Kathy Hochul? I understand that he's I guess a national figure or whatever, in a way that maybe Kathy Hochul's a more of a statewide figure or what have you. But like, if he stays on the fence, what's the good outcome? If you're not fucking around with Tom Suozzi is going to do what he's going to do no matter what, right? Tom Suozzi isn't waiting for Hakeem to run, right? Like, and Tom Suozzi.
What did Tom Suozzi do?
No. What I'm saying is, if you're fearful of the Tom Suozzis of the world, if you're fearful for the Jared Goldens of the world, they'll define themselves. They'll disassociate themselves. Everyone, you know, in this day and age, candidates are free to define themselves however they want, and so it's really not a big risk.
Sitch might be smarter than Hutch.
Who's going to
They'll
get
in trouble if the leader of the Democrats is associated with Mamdani when they're trying to represent the Democrats in their district. And it's like, yeah, but your leader is Mamdani's best friend over here.
So, I mean, would that apply to AOC? I mean, you're just going to say it's because she's an incumbent. But at the time in which she was making waves in 2018, should they have endorsed AOC when she won the nomination? Of course they should have, because that was a Democratic candidate. Of course you should have endorsed AOC at that time. But
that's for the House. That's different.
But why is it different? Like, why is it different to endorse someone who
national politics,
No,
national politics versus city politics? Why is it different?
Holy fuck! I'm not comparing the offices themselves. The nature of the contest. It's not about the nature of the office itself. It's about how visible it is. And the Democratic candidate for mayor, this is like world news, and everyone's talking about it. And he's going to be asked every day about it, and he's going to be dogged for it. And he's going to look weak. He just says, "I don't know. I'm having these conversations."
Here's my issue, and I already told you I think my calculation changed a little bit with Adams dropping out. I think there's just like political reasons for Jeffries doing it. My problem here, Pisco, quite frankly, is that I think a lot of Mamdani's most vocal supporters online and alternative media have intentionally made this a divisive issue when it didn't need to be. First of all,
dude, again, it is literally all based on fucking Twitter again, man. You can predict it so easily. The calculus comes down to the fans on Twitter. It's every fucking time with this bald idiot, man. It's so fucking unbearable. Holy shit.
This standard never existed before. Like, national Democrats were never expected to endorse mayoral candidates, even for the biggest city, most populous city in the entire country. They invented this standard and then started making these demands. They're not looking for unity. They're looking for, you know, the establishment wing or the moderate wing to bend the knee to the new kind of handsome, popular, progressive candidate. They intentionally made this a divisive issue. They picked a fight over this.
Yeah, I don't even know if Jeffries should endorse Mamdani. I don't know enough about, like, you know, the polling on Jeffries, like what groups supporting him, why they support him, what his policies have been, and how it might have an interplay if he endorses Mamdani in his next race or whatever the fuck, you know? So I don't know 100%. I'm not settled on whether Jeffrey should endorse Mamdani. Hutch's argument is fucking terrible, though. Hutch is immediately coming in with the Twitter fans. Every fucking time. Every fucking time. I do think generally I do lean towards Pisco's perspective on, like, all this stuff. Like, because I do think that it's time to stop. Like, if you want, you know, you have to accept that the left-leaning parties in these first world democracies in the UK, in the US, wherever, it's Big Tent. It's Big Tent. You don't want, like, the super hardcore communists necessarily as part of it. You don't have to chase the hardcore communists around to keep them in the party. But doing the bare minimum of not, like, totally fucking shunning them when they have a really popular, really successful, sort of, like, more moderate candidate that's willing to play ball. Well, I lean towards the perspective of welcoming that stuff in, of being like, yeah, no, we are happy to work with Mamdani because he's aligned on 99% of issues. Just because he's a little bit further left on some, that's not the end of the fucking world.
Don't
I
you see
totally
that?
disagree. No, I don't agree whatsoever. I think that, you know, regardless of how entrenched the standard is for other politicians to weigh in on a New York mayoral, it's happened before. It's happened before. Booker endorsed a previous mayoral election. It's not unheard of for federal candidates
No,
for to
the
endorse
standard.
state or city? What would it take to be the standard, Hutch? What would
Do
it
you
take
think
to be the
AOC should have been forced to endorse Eric Adams in 2021?
What do you mean by forced? What do you mean by forced? Yeah, I think she
want
should have
the
endorsed.
standard.
Yeah,
You want the
yes,
standard.
hang on.
Come on, you don't
I
actually
think,
believe that.
No. I think that AOC should have endorsed Mayor Adams when he
You
was running
don't.
against the Republican.
You don't
Yes, I do.
believe
What do you mean
that.
I
No,
don't?
you-
Why are you
there's no
telling me I
way.
don't believe
Because
that?
it's a
I thought all these
third.
lefties. Wait, no, it is
It's
not.
absurd.
It is not.
Why should she be forced to throw her
What do you mean
name
be
and
forced
reputation?
to? So when
You're
so when
saying
you
it's
say
the
Hutch,
standard. That's what?
Hutch, when you say be forced, what do you mean by that?
You're saying
you mean like
you
I
think
forced her
this-
physically? What do you mean
no,
by
no,
that?
No, no. You're saying that
Why
this,
should she?
Hold on, I'm answering your question.
Yeah.
You're saying this should be the standard. Therefore, she would be forced to act in accordance with a standard, correct?
I think that Democratic officials from New York, whether they're federal representatives or not, should endorse the Democratic candidate for mayor. I do think that is a standard that should happen. That it should happen. I am saying that. And your response is there's not been like universal uptake of that standard in the past.
Well, you
understand that doesn't mean that it's wrong.
Well, you understand the consequences of this, right? Because if you're going to apply that standard in New York, you got to apply that standard in all 50 states. And now you're saying that more progressive House representatives should be forced to endorse like conservative mayoral candidates in, whatever race in California or whatever.
We are talking about the New York leader of the Democrats, that is Hakeem Jeffries, who is
he's saying. I think Pisco's point here is specifically about like the New York mayor. It's like a huge, like it is like you said, it's world news. Like I cover all the shit about fucking Iran because it's interesting because he's a unique candidate. Like yeah. It's a great opportunity to signal like actual unity in the Democratic Party, showing that you're a big tent, showing that you will accept people that are slightly to the left of you, showing that you will accept people who take a stand on Israel, Gaza.
Representative of the state of New York. He's one of the reps for New York. And we're talking about Chuck Schumer, the leader of the Democrats, who is the senator from the great state of New York. We're talking about New York-based politicians. And not only them, they're leaders of their respective congressional branches. So they are national leaders.
Why does the standard only apply to New York? Why would it not be applied in every state?
New York is the center of the world. New York, give me a fucking break, Hutch. So this is what Hutch is saying. This is what Hutch thinks I'm saying. Hutch thinks that the standard that I'm imposing is I want the Hakeem Jeffries to come on every single first selectman race in the entire fucking country. Do you think I'm that fucking stupid that I'm calling for the leader of the so then why are you saying then it has to be the same for every state that Hakeem Jeffries has to comment on every mayoral? Is that what you're suggesting?
In California, for example, you're saying that California representatives should weigh in on mayoral contests in California.
Largely coalesce.
And Wyoming
on the
Democrats should weigh in on Wyoming mayoral races. Why would it only apply to New York, Pisco?
So I think that there is a New York exceptionalism in general. I think that New York, this mayoral race is national news across the country. Yes or no, Hutch?
Wait. Let me build a bridge. Let me build a bridge. Pisco. Wait, I want to. Let me moderate.
Shut the fuck up. Hutch. Is the New York mayoral
stay out, Soypill. Shut the fuck up for real.
Race national news in a way that these other contests are not?
Yeah.
Yes, of course. Number two, I would apply a standard to, for example, the LA mayor race. If you have some shitback independent who lost the fucking primary, and you have Californian people who's a centrist, corrupt person who is in the pocket and is fucking supporting and being the lawyer for Bibi Netanyahu at a time when that's not where the base is at, if that happened in LA, yes, I would expect the California delegation to support the Democrat.
You hear that? Dude. Pisco said that's not where the Democratic base is at, and Hutch's face flipped. Hutch's face went crazy. What do you mean the Democratic base isn't totally fucking zogged in Big 25? What do you mean? What do you mean we can't just bomb hospitals with impunity? What? Huh?
And is fucking supporting and being the lawyer for Bibi Netanyahu at a time when that's not where the base is at. If that happened in LA, yes, I would expect the California delegation to support the Democratic candidate. I don't think that's an absurd standard.
No, now you're appealing to you're appealing to extraordinary circumstances. When a moment ago you were saying it's because they're New York Democrats, they should weigh in on
corrupt person who is in the pocket and is fucking supporting and being the lawyer for Bibi Netanyahu at a time when that's not where the base is at. If that happened in LA, yes, I would expect. corrupt person who is in the pocket and is fucking supporting and being the lawyer for Bibi Netanyahu at a time when that's not where the base is at. If that happened in LA, yes, I would expect the California delegation to support the Democratic candidate. I don't think that's an absurd standard.
No, now you're appealing to you're appealing to extraordinary circumstances. When a moment ago you were saying it's because they're New York Democrats, they should weigh in on this mayor's race.
No. I'm addressing you directly.
I don't understand how this standard wouldn't be applied across the board all over the country.
I'm addressing you directly.
Have a standard. Let me finish my thought. You shouldn't have a standard that would force candidates to risk their own reputation, to be forced to endorse someone that they don't align with. That would apply to AOC retroactively to Eric Adams in 2021. And as much as you say right now, yes, I think she should have done that. I don't think that you actually
would it apply. So I don't want to hear any shit from you. Therefore, when Democrats in the future choose not, or left-wing people choose not to endorse the Democratic candidate for president,
Mamdani didn't, bro. This is the height of irony.
Whoa. So you say it's the height of irony. Should we condemn Mamdani for not endorsing Kamala Harris? Of course. Correct? Yes or no? Yes or no?
No, I don't think.
Oh,
no,
so we don't condemn. So you don't have any smoke. So you don't have any smoke. So I want to hear you. You don't have any smoke for.
This makes no sense with shit Hutch has said in the past. Does he not believe that if you are not willing to fall in line and support the Democratic candidate, you should be ejected from the party? Is he not on the same page as Destiny? I've heard him argue that exact same position, though. I could have sworn that Hutch is on board with the idea that if you're not okay with falling in line behind the Democratic candidate because, I'm a genocide, then you need to be ejected from the party.
For Hassan for not directly endorsing Kamala Harris. That's right.
Hassan Piker? He has way more notoriety.
You just said you don't.
Hutch.
He's saying Hassan's voice is more important than Zoran's. Dude.
You just said you don't condemn Mamdani for not endorsing Kamala Harris. I do condemn Mamdani. Hang on. Let's get very clear.
Comparing a presidential race to
let's just be very clear, Hutch. Let's be very clear.
Do you think there should be a different standard?
We're gonna have clarity, Hutch. Hutch, we're gonna have clarity. Don't worry, we'll get to everything.
Do you think there should be a different standard for mayoral race and a presidential race?
It depends.
But
I'm asking you. No, it's obviously different contest. But in terms of who to nominate, I asked you a question. Do you condemn Mamdani for not endorsing Kamala Harris? Yes or no?
I don't care. He was a New York State Assembly member.
So are you saying Are you saying you're indifferent? Yes or no? What do you say?
Yes, I'm indifferent.
So are you indifferent to Hassan not endorsing Kamala Harris?
No, because it's different. That guy has way more influence.
Dude, it's so crazy. Zoran does it. Zoran and Schumer and whoever don't pass the influence threshold to be required to support Kamala, but Hassan does. Dude, they're part of the Democratic Party. They're literally part of the fucking party, and you don't think they should fall in line? But you think some fucking commentator should? Some pundit should? Dude, you're so fucking retarded. You're so dumb. Dude.
So this is crazy.
A New York City Assembly member.
So now the level of influence matters, right? Yes. So now you're okay. So you're basically suggesting that influence and how notable.
Dude, there's no way someone's saying Pisco flailing in chat. Dude, literally, you have to be delusional.
Is affecting your calculus about whether or not you think an endorsement should or should not obtain, correct?
Presidential race.
This is so silly, dude. So we were on the same page like weeks ago that it was the right thing to endorse Mamdani. Now you've reversed your position.
No,
I don't know what your position is now.
No. I'm just pushing back against the constant rhetoric that I'm hearing from Mamdani's most vocal supporters. To be clear, they picked a fight over this issue. They purposefully made it divisive. It's obvious that the
standard is consistent.
Pick the fight over what? Over endorsing Mamdani. Yes, there is a big push to endorse Mamdani because I think Adams dropped out now, but the other options were Eric Adams, who's beyond corrupt and working with the Trump admin, and fucking Cuomo, who's like a rapist. So yeah, there's a big push to endorse Mamdani. Yeah.
Listen, the standard is you endorse a Democrat unless there are exceptional circumstances, like some fucking he's a child rapist.
In a presidential race.
No. It's you who's providing that proviso. That's you who's saying it's only exceptional to the president. I think that it should be more broad than that.
No,
I think Democrats should support Democrats.
Like, you have to localize it. So like New York State Dems or New York City Dems, like at the state level of government. That's the pressure is more on them to get behind like candidates like that. You're talking about national Democrats who have their own constituents and their own reputations to consider, and you're saying that they should be forced to, by some standard.
Hey, do you remember this argument, Hutch? Do you remember this argument? The argument was the lesser of two evils. Why would you endorse the lesser of two evils? Maybe because it's less evil. So if you have a principled position against Mamdani because you think his fucking policies are shit, you can just say that. You can say, listen, I don't agree with Mamdani, but I'm not going to support a Republican. Guess what? All the fucking Republicans do that. All the Republican elected officials do that. Do you think any of them fucking sit on the fence like this? They don't do that. They support their own candidate. No. But we can't bring ourselves to do that. And it's fucking insane. And it was wrong when Mamdani did it. And it's wrong with No, come on.
How many congressional Republicans have endorsed Sliwa in this race?
I don't wait. I don't fucking know.
You just said Republicans do this.
Lawler has endorsed Lawler endorsed Sliwa. Endorsed Sliwa. And
you're saying that
you understand the field is fractured for the conservatives in this race. It's fractured in a way that it shouldn't be for the Democratic Party because it's New York fucking city.
This is not true. Republicans constantly weigh in on mayoral races. This is not true.
So Republicans fall in line for each other. And if it were a clear...
No, they don't do the standard that you're talking about.
Oh, my God.
You're making it up. There is no standard that congressional Republicans endorse mayoral candidates. This is not a thing, Pisco.
So you're narrow. You're making it so narrow that you think what I'm suggesting is that there's a uniform standard for Republicans even to weigh in on other mayoral elections across the country. And so you're saying there's no standard because I haven't heard Republicans weigh in on mayoral elections.
It's not a standard.
Hutch had a podcast called Depression Pals. Yeah.
I fear Hutch is failing the trolley problem.
Thank you for the $5, Lucas. Hutch had a podcast called Depression Pals. This shouldn't be used maliciously in any way. The name of the podcast was Depression Pals, and it was run by a 15-year COD streamer. Interesting bloke.
So this is New York City. So in general, the Republicans coalesce behind their candidate, and I think that's what should happen with Democrats in any kind of major, notable race. The Democrats should back the Democratic candidate. It's you want to make a different standard and say, well, sometimes no, definitely when it's the president, but not if. Hang on, definitely when it's the president, but not if you're a mayoral, candidate in the future. So I'm not gonna and look at your standard, right? Like I'm gonna say that you
guys. I think I'm getting sick. This is really fucked.
Should endorse Kamala Harris unless you're like a New York assemblyman. Then you have no requirement to endorse.
Your assemblyman.
It's absurd. It's fucking absurd. Of course, there should be a uniform standard to support the Democratic nominee.
All right, we got to put it. Okay, so this is a question that maybe this will build a bridge. Maybe this will start another fight. I'm just curious, Hutch. If there was some mayoral race in Wyoming that was as big as the Mamdani thing, that was making national headlines, do you think it would be at least reasonable to expect heads of Democratic congressional caucuses not to necessarily say, I full-throatedly endorse Mamdani, but to say, hey, I support the Democratic candidate in this race against a Republican?
You would have to make the situation analogous. So like in this race, why are you laughing? You would have to make the situation analogous.
When it's convenient for you, you do this.
Let him finish.
Let me finish my point.
You asked me a question. Was that a rhetorical question? Or you
weren't
actually asking me?
Yes, I want to finish my point.
Make that clear next time.
In this hypothetical, if it is sort of like an insurgent candidate that came up really big with the grassroots campaign and he was like a fucking socialist and he was like a clear favorite to win the race, then no, I don't think that I would want that pressure there.
You're making a Mamdani exclusive rule.
Yeah,
You're special pleading for Mamdani's
yes. No, I don't want to support the popular grassroots left-wing candidate that all the people on Twitter like. No, I don't want to do that because the supporters are so toxic. Fuck you. Fuck you. Go rot in the corner somewhere. Go lay down and just take it. Clearly, you are not willing to fight at all, so...
case.
I'm
You were
applying
accused.
the
Yes.
same
No,
situation, bro.
You're
If
saying
it's
it would have
just- it's
it would
a
have to be like
calculation.
listen to me. So
Is it a
this is the
close
special
race?
pleading. This is the
it a
special
close-
pleading.
Is it a close race?
This is
Then
the
that
special
changes the
pleading.
calculation, right?
This is the special pleading. What Hutch is just saying in response to Soy Pill, I think, is a very like on all fours example, hypothetical, where it's a race in Wyoming and where it's national news. He says it would have
Soy Pill dry humps at Pickle Rick with the Patrick Bateman horny face while looking at himself in the mirror.
to be just like the Mamdani race, and then I would apply the Mamdani specific standard, which is just for Mamdani. Your special pleading, not me. I'm the one who's consistent. Endorse the Democrat.
No,
that's my
you don't.
consistency.
Do you not understand the logic of like, if the race is not very close and this hypothetical Democrat in Wyoming was like 10 or 20 points up, was like the clear favorite, should we put some standard on like what's most likely like a conservative Democrat serving in Wyoming to lend their reputation to a candidate that maybe they're totally ideologically different from? I don't understand how that makes any sense.
So the endorsement now is turning also on the closeness of the race, and so there's some special formula you're calculating. So everyone should just go to Hutch.
That's why my calculation changed earlier in the podcast.
We'll plug into your computer. So when it comes to the endorsement question, because it's relying on all these multiplicity of factors, including does it have the Mamdani specific factors that we should consider, the ideology specific factor, the jurisdictional specific factor, and then your intuitions about who's going to win or not. Then we'll ask Hutch about who should be endorsed, or we could just go with a universal moral rule, which is in general the Democratic leaders should support the Democratic candidates. That seems a lot easier.
Pisco, to be clear, I guess the calculation is, and the reason Mamdani specific matters is, would it hurt people in other districts who would otherwise support Hakeem Jeffries or want to support the Democrats by endorsing someone that they wouldn't like them endorsing, like Mamdani, more than it would help Mamdani win this race? And if that's the case, then it would make sense not to endorse. I don't know if that's the case, but clearly, do you not see that that's a possibility that
I recognize, look at how reasonable I am. I recognize that's possible for some ultra conservative members, right? Some very conservative Democrats who are in tough things.
It's in fucking New York City, exactly. Yeah.
Here, I might grumble. Am I saying Jared Golden is a dick for not endorsing Mamdani? No, I'm out here saying the leaders of the Democratic Party in safe states, right? In New York State, safe state for fucking Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries, who has to appeal to the conservatives and the left wing. Guess what? It goes both ways. Yes, of course, Hakeem has responsibilities to members of his caucus who are more conservative. He also has a responsibility to members of his caucus who are left wing. The problem is, my intuition is, a lot of Democrats think it only goes one way. It only goes to the right and doesn't go to the left. And I think it's bullshit. I was calling out each and every person who didn't endorse Kamala Harris because I actually believed in harm reduction. But the notion that we could have, a Republican or Cuomo, or before yesterday, Adams as mayor, when we have a much better alternative that sends fucking shivers down my spine, and it's wasting talent in Mamdani. And I don't see why we can't just apply a simple rule, which is in these kind of big races when all the attention is focused by the media.
Brutal comment from Sean Dixon in chat. We're in their chat.
Have a Republican or Cuomo, or before yesterday, Adams.
Hutch got the Andrew Wilson filter on.
We could have
that one,
a Republican or Cuomo, or before yesterday, Adams as mayor, when we have a much better alternative that sends fucking shivers down my spine, and it's wasting talent in Mamdani. And I don't see why we can't just apply a simple rule, which is in these kind of big races when all the attention is focused by the media, we endorse a Democratic candidate. And if you want to make it a weaker statement and say, I don't support all his policies, or we have many disagreements, that's what the Republicans do when they have their controversial candidates. But they step up and they endorse.
I don't see any reason to endorse him. First of all, the goalposts are just going to get moved. Like you said, Pisco, that you should have endorsed him earlier. You didn't endorse him hard enough. So it doesn't make any difference. To me, I could steelman your argument in that Hakeem Jeffries' district is in New York City, so he shares constituents with Mamdani, so it makes sense to endorse him. Fine. But he's not just an average congressman. He's the leader of the Democrats nationwide in the House of Representatives with a 3-seat majority, and control of the House goes through those Jared Golden districts. So he has to make the calculation. Does it matter if I endorse Mamdani? Is it going to make a difference in his race? No. Does it help make my job easier or harder? And I feel he's made the calculation. It makes my job harder to win control of the House of Representatives for the Democrats next year if I cozy up to Mamdani. That's what it comes down to.
And the results for this kind of spineless, like looking at, I'm not saying you're spineless. I'm saying I think the leaders are spineless in that they're always looking at these opinion polls and over complicating these things. And we smell it. The Democratic approval ratings are at all-time lows. It's because of this kind of bullshit where we're always looking at consensus polls. We're always looking to try to manufacture the perfect answer instead of just going with our gut and doing what's fucking right. Sometimes, of course, think with your head. But in this context, what's the harm? How is Jared Golden going to be harmed because we fucking, nominated the Democratic nominee in New York City?
Have you seen Mamdani's statewide polls or his nationwide polls, by the way?
I'll tell you how he's going to be harmed.
They're not good. They're not good.
I'll tell you
Just a spoiler alert.
He doesn't have
Jared Golden is part of the Democratic caucus, and the leader of the Democrats is Hakeem Jeffries. So anything Hakeem Jeffries does is going to rub off on Jared Golden's and his chances.
Well, then we're fucked because the brand is shit. The brand is dog shit right now, and it's all about lack of trying.
It doesn't matter.
If it's
all
about winning, we should support the Democratic candidate. If it's all about winning, that's what we should do.
It's about controlling the House of Representatives next year. How do you get it? How do you win it? And I think the strategy obviously goes through these moderate districts, and so does Hakeem.
If I was convinced that this would significantly affect the chances of the Democratic House, this non-endorsement, I would be like, fine. I'm not convinced by that. I don't think there's a good case for it. And I think it makes you look weak in front of your base, and the base hates the leadership. And it's because of decisions like this. And it's because of spineless decisions like in the past when we didn't use our leverage in the other negotiation. It's this kind of running scared instead of being a leader, running scared and being like sort of pushed around by your fears. This is the kind of shit that turns off the base. And the base is so disanimated by this kind of fecklessness.
Well,
in my opinion. I love you guys. I love Hutch. Hutch is my boy. Hutch is my boy. Listen, I get heated because fuck, I've been so pissed at leadership and it's taken so long, and they're gonna have to keep fielding this question. And you look weak as fuck when you don't answer it.
I don't understand. Like I feel you keep calling it weakness and spinelessness, and to me it's just just a political calculation. It's not about
it can be to you, but it looks weak to everyone else
or anything like that. Yeah. And you talk about the base being upset. Do you really think that Mamdani represents the base of the Democratic Party?
I'm not.
Mamdani represents a growing movement on the left of disaffectedness with the Democrats not pushing back, not fighting back, and finally someone coming out and doing a little more populist thing. And that's why he has this national support and energy. And by saying, I will not endorse, Pisco is saying, well, you're kind of saying, well, if you want change, this is just like the David Hogg thing. If you're trying to come in and primary people and be progressive, we don't want that. And it kind of builds into this like establishment, like hard rock that's not going to move things. So I understand that at the very least, I think it's silly that he wouldn't just say, hey, I don't agree with everything this guy does, but it's great that we have this guy and this energy. And I think it's great that people are voting for him, and I support this movement and I support him over the Republicans. But he won't even say that. It does come off as a little bit like, come on, give us something, even if it's not going to be like the deep.
And then the Mayor Adams statement, Hutch. And then the Mayor Adams statement.
Well, that I already told you I didn't.
I know, but like it's all part of the. I weigh that in because I see that he didn't call on him to resign at a time when he's literally cooperating with Tom Homan and Trump, and it's all part of the same shit. Like, whose side are you on, Hakeem?
I just feel like you guys are not really reckoning with the point that IRI has made, I think, like 4 times now, which is like the House Speaker has a totally different set of considerations to ponder when considering something like that. Like a political endorsement is a big fucking deal. Like
you should switch back to the endorsement off that Adams point, but that Adams point was like, well, okay, so it's just a calculation. Why is he being such a bitch on Adams then?
Political endorsement, you are lending your name and your credibility to a candidate. And so it's not some small gesture. And I don't like Mamdani, I looked at his platform. I liked like 90% of his platform, didn't like 10% of it. I thought he ran a brilliant campaign, and I would be happy to vote for him if I lived in New York City. But there are going to be representatives that serve in districts that are a little freaked out at the idea of endorsing a guy who said that the end goal is to seize the means of production. You know what I mean? Like, he's just like not even a democratic socialist. He's like a socialist, right? Like, that's going to freak a lot of people out. And I think you're underestimating that kind of endorsement backfiring. I think you're underestimating the risk of that happening. Like we saw it in 2020. Like the 2020 was like a really important cycle because we won a trifecta, but we lost seats in the House. And one of the reasons why we lost seats in the House is that there was a perception about Democrats that we like wanted to like, you know, get rid of police and become like super radical in that way. And it cost us House seats.
I can understand where Pisco's coming from. He feels like the Democrats are missing out on the energy and the excitement and
Totally.
why people like Mamdani. I get it. And but I really question Mamdani's national appeal as well. I haven't really seen any evidence to back up that. I understand he's on national TV and people do like him around the country, but is he really resonating with Democrats around the country? I'm not so sure. Have you seen evidence?
Whoever answers polls is the opposite. IRIs. He's not as popular national as he is in New York. So,
well, there's a lot of like undecideds with him. He's unknown, and so there's a lot of room to grow. Like AOC was in a similar position, and now I think she's positive nationally. But at the moment, he's down. He's like -15 nationally. You know, so he's not a particularly popular person yet.
Yeah, I'm not saying that he's a known commodity national. I'm saying that the race has national attention in a way that like a normal mayoral race doesn't. And
Sure.
I do think that there's an exceptionalism to these major cities. Major cities, by the way, are on the front of the war against Trump. Who is Trump, you know, claiming that he wants to go into these various cities for? He's doing it in Chicago and New York City. These places, these major metropolitans, you know, Gotham City. This shit matters. Also, I happen to live here, and so yeah, like the notion that we would have, I think Cuomo was like fielding calls from Trump. He's much more likely to be aligned with Trump, and in that context, it's not even like a close call for me. And I think that you could craft a statement such as Soypil gave as an example that would fairly insulate you from any accusation that you're a fucking socialist. I'm not a socialist. I've never been a socialist. I just defended my boy Econo Boy when he came out, you know. But like, I'm not a socialist. I just think that what's good for the goose is good for the gander. I don't think really at the standard for the
where are they getting the national polling on Zara? I literally can't even find the national polling on Zara. Can anyone find this?
Race. If you're going to say that Mamdani shouldn't have to endorse Kamala Harris, even though he's an assemblyman in New York, I think he should. I think Hassan should have. And I think we when we make it too complicated, like, well, it depends on the fucking exact intersection between your popularity and how likely you are to win the race by itself. And then it just, to me, it gets too complicated, man. Just endorse a Democratic candidate. But I know we have a disagreement, and I love you boys. I've always loved you boys.
All right. Well, guys, I think we're going to wrap up a little bit here, but I think I want to add that was heated therapy session for Pisco, and as much as I enjoyed it, I want to end on unity here. And I know we weren't going to make a big deal out of this, but I do want to watch. Did you guys see Donald Trump posting AI videos of medbeds?
Oh, bro. Shit! Yeah.
So we talked about fascism and how important it is to mock fascists. So when you're president, when your fascist authoritarian crazy leader is
I cannot find national polling on Iran. I cannot see that.
Okay, you have to say I'm 5% female. All right,
no, I don't know. I've never even
like 75% of my audience is trans last time I polled. So
I don't know on Twitch or YouTube, but on TikTok it's 50-50 for me.
Wow, 50-50. Well, TikTok is
looks. It's my good looks.
You are a handsome man, IRI.
Oh, but yeah, no, I don't know if you guys saw. I was watching an IRI stream while I was driving, and he was talking about, oh, it's okay, everyone ages. I'm past my prime. Bitch, you look the same as you do when you were 20. Shut up. Don't. Oh, everyone ages just like me.
That's enough of that.